Sometimes the tough things in life come to teach us a lesson, and sometimes they come to redirect us back to our happy place. Whichever one it is, we have to take the good with the bad, learn to be appreciative, and learn true happiness. Welcome to Mocha Homestead.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to Mocha Homestead. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It is actually cold and raining outside. I have not been able to get out there in over a week to get any videos done. So today I am going to take you guys along with me as I try a new recipe. I was blessed to be able to have about a bushel of apples given to me. I have already shared some with some friends, but today we are going to process these apples. My goal is to try to make some applesauce and to make some apple turnovers so that we can eat some fresh and also put some in the freezer. So follow along with me to see what I can get done. So I have a couple of the apples here. They have already been washed and dried. I am going to peel these and then chop them up to put them into this bowl. I'm going to chop them up into small pieces like this so that they can go into the apple turnovers. So let me get that done and then I'll come back and show you what the next step is.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight.
Now that I have these peeled as best as I can, I am going to cut off some of the brown spots that I saw on some of the apples. And then I'm going to cut them off of the core. Now, if you have a KitchenAid mixer and you have that peeler core attachment, then by all means, you can use that to make time go by a little bit faster. But I do not have one of those, so I'm going to do it old school. And I broke my apple wedger, so I'm going to have to get another one of those, or that would have made it a little bit faster as well. And as you can see, I'm cutting off some of the bad pieces as we go. And then I'm going to take these pieces and dice them into smaller chunks. The recipe calls for shredded apples, but I am not going to shred apples. I actually like a little texture in my apple pie. So I'm just going to cut them into small chunks. Okay, so I am doubling this recipe. So I have used 8 cups of the chopped apples. I'm going to use a whole cup of light brown sugar. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to put all of that in here to get this started cooking. So I'm going to mix all of this up. And I'm going to try to get my butter at the bottom because I'm using a cast iron pan and I do not want this to start sticking. And I have it on a pretty low-ish temperature. And I'm going to heat this up and come back to you guys once it starts to soften. side note, because I did not shred these and they are not going to incorporate as well once they get soft, I did go ahead and add a half a cup of water at the bottom just so that this does not stick. Okay, let me see if you guys can see this. If you notice, it has already started to create this kind of sauce around the apples. And so I'm just going to keep stirring this for about another 10 minutes or so to get it incorporated and get the apples a little bit soft. So here's the end result of what my filling looks like. It's gotten thicker. The apples are a bit softer. I did want them to still have some texture to them when I put them in. So now we have to let this completely cool. Alright, you guys, I have moved to another recipe. I am actually making apple crisp instead of the applesauce because we don't eat a whole lot of applesauce. So I'm just going to make the apple crisp instead so that we can enjoy that. And then I will freeze the apple pies for us to enjoy later. So I have already chopped the apples that I need and placed them into a pan. I have also, which is about 6 cups of chopped apples. I've peeled them, of course, cored them, and chopped them. I have also greased my 8x8 pan. And so we are getting ready to add the ingredients to the apples. Okay, so to this bowl, I'm only supposed to add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I don't have any regular granulated sugar. I just used it all and made brown sugar. So I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar to this. And it's going to be a little bit less sugar in this recipe than it calls for because I am trying to get away from using as much sugar in my recipes and still being able to enjoy them. I am going to use 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and no, I'm not measuring. I am just eyeballing it. And I need to get some more cinnamon. I am adding 1.5 teaspoons of, I am actually using lime juice because I do not have lemon juice. And I am supposed to mix this together and transfer it into the baking dish. So let me get that done. All right, so here's my mixture with the cinnamon and sugar and everything on it. And I am going to take my 8x8 baking dish and pour this in. And that looks like a lot. They said 6 cups. That's a lot of apples for 6 cups. But we're going to leave that just like that. Smooth it all out. Then we're going to put this to the side and we're going to make our topping. All right, now that we're done mixing all of our ingredients, what we basically took was 1 cup of light brown sugar. I actually used less than that. I used probably about a half a cup. 3/4 cups of old-fashioned oats. 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Of course, I put more than that. A pinch of kosher salt. A half a cup of cold unsalted butter diced into small cubes. And what you do is put all of the dry ingredients in the bowl and then you cut in the cold butter. And you're going to end up with a substance that is similar to this, if you can see. And then you drop this on the top. We're going to go over there and do that and smooth it out for it to make a crust. So let's go do that. So here we are at the stove. I already have my stove preheated to 350. And I am going to try to, it might be easier for me to use my hand to put this on and smooth it out. Let's see. I'm scooping it in sections and then kind of using the fork to smooth it out a little bit so that it's not huge chunks of this crust. I'm assuming that's what you're supposed to do. Now listen, as Asia from Yellow Door Homestead says, Yellow Door Urban Homestead, this is not a teaching channel. This is you watching me experiment with recipes that I found on the internets. So we're going to see together how this turns out and if I need to adjust it in any way. More than what I've already adjusted by adding less sugar and putting more cinnamon because I love cinnamon. So this mixture just about covers the apples, but not really. So I'm thinking maybe I need to add a little bit more next time. Maybe do a cup of oats and a little bit more flour. But guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna bake this and see what it tastes like. Okay, so let's get this in the oven. It says to bake it about 40 to 50 minutes or until golden and bubbly. So I'm going to set my timer for 40 minutes and we're gonna check it at 40 minutes. But in the meantime, we're gonna finish with our apple pies. All right, so now I have my pie crust. And the instructions say to divide the pie crust into 8 equal parts. So let's see. Let's unroll this first. And so let me just tell y'all something. So I shop on a budget. I find things on sale and I try to preserve them as long as I can if I don't need them right then. I bought this pie crust a couple of months ago and I froze it and let it thaw out in the refrigerator for a few days, and now I'm preparing to use it. Now, if I'm not supposed to do that, somebody tell me in the comments. I'm probably still gonna do it, but at least I would like to know. Now this edge over here is starting to crack and all I'm doing is just pushing down on it to mend it back together. That's all I'm doing. It's pushing it back together and then sealing it, because it's apple pies. I'm not trying to win a baking contest. I just want it to taste good and stay together. So, the recipe says to separate this into 8 different pieces. So we're going to go in half first. And then we're going to do 4 on each side. So we're going to go down the middle. And then we're going to do triangles, like pie slices. And now we have 8 different pieces. So then it says, let me grab it. roll out each piece into 5-inch discs. This mat that I actually have it on, let's see, actually has little tick marks and things, so I'm going to measure it to see if I can get this into 5-inch discs. So that's 5 right there. So maybe I just need to, let me get my mini rolling pin. Maybe I just need to make it a circle. Let's try that. So we're going to move some of these out of the way. And we're going to try to roll this into a circle. And let's see what we get. Or maybe I need to roll it together. Let's do this. There we go. Much better. Okay, so now that I have gotten these done, I am going to place some filling in it. Let me bring you closer. I've placed some filling in it, and then it says fold it over, creating half moon shaped pies, and use a fork to press the edges. So I'm going to fold this over.
Mommy,
Yes.
did you notice these missing details in K-pop Demon Hunters?
I did not.
So when the
And
news,
I need a fork.
so when the news was cut about the thing,
Okay.
I always need a snack to have.
And now I'm going to try to close this up with a fork.
Signature time, Halloween jackpot.
This one is going to be my tester because I just learned that I don't want to put too much pie filling in here because then it won't close properly. So I'm using a fork to close this up. I've also learned that these are mini pies in this recipe, evidently, because these, if you see my hand, these are very small. And so I do not know. I'm thinking what I may do is, I don't know. I was thinking about using one pie crust for the top and one for the bottom and filling it in like that. But then that would make me, instead of having 16 pies, I would only have 8. And I think this is probably a good size for us to just have a snack. So yeah, I'm going to put this on the parchment paper that is on my baking dish, and I will come back and finish the rest of these and show you when they're finished. All right, so here's the result before they go in the oven. I did an experiment to try to make one like this to see what happens to it. I did put an egg wash on it, although it called for some heavy whipping cream. I did not have heavy whipping cream, so I did an egg wash over these. I'm going to cook them for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll let you know what they look like. Also, there is our apple crisp out of the oven, and I can't wait to try it. So let me put these in the oven, and then we will try that apple crisp. So again, I'm putting this on 350. I'm going to put this in the oven for 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. I am going to cut some of this parchment paper off because I know that it burns sometimes in the oven. So let me do that and come back. All right, so let me put this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And I previously doubled the recipe for the apples earlier. I know you're wondering what happened to the second part of the apples. I am going to try to make 2 big apple turnovers that we can eat off of for a few days and see how that comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and make that one and show you what I came up with. And so I ended up reading the package because reading is fundamental. And I don't like to read instructions, but I read the instructions and this one actually rolled out a lot better than the previous one. So what my goal is, I am planning to split this. Alexa, stop. I'm planning to split this and see if I can do 2 big ones. 2 big apple turnovers and see what I get from those. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, so this was what I was able to come up with. I got 2 pies. I still have a ton of, let's see if you can see it. I still have a ton of apple pie filling, but what I'm actually going to do with that is I am just going to use that with my oatmeal for the week. So my breakfast will be oatmeal, and it will be apple cinnamon oatmeal because I have the ingredients to make apple cinnamon oatmeal now. So we make lemons out of lemonade. We make lemonade out of lemons, and we do not waste anything at this homestead. The apple scraps, I'm going to look up what I can do with the apple scraps. Some of them will be going to the chickens. The cores will be going in the trash unless I can find something to do with those. But all in all, we did well. So now we're going to wait and see what our apple pie looks like when it comes out of the oven. And then we will see what these 2 look like when they come out of the oven and see if this was a success or a fail. All right, here's the results for the smaller ones. I just pulled these out of the oven. They are starting to brown as they cool, but overall they look pretty good, and I'm sure they're going to taste amazing. The other ones are currently in the oven cooking, and so those will be ready in 20 minutes, and I will show you what those look like. Alrighty, it's time to take out the pies and let's see what we got. Oh my. Ooh. These look yummy. Let me bring you closer. Look at that, y'all. That is beautiful. So I hope you guys can hear me because I do not have my mic on. But I decided to give the scraps to the chickens, not the cores. The cores I'm actually going to boil and see if I can make some apple juice or apple flavored water. But I'm going to hurry up because I'm going to give them these and see if they got eggs, because look, y'all see them clouds coming? The rain is coming back, so let me hurry up. Look at them. They already know they're getting something. Just ready. They are enjoying their treats. They're not fighting because I put enough out there for everybody to get some. Look at the beautiful colors of the garden. That orange and that pink. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in. That pink over there. Beautiful. Okay, it's getting cold. Let me see what eggs we have. Do we have any? Woo! Somebody's laying right now. Sorry, y'all. I didn't pay attention. I didn't count. Somebody is laying. So we're going to see if she finishes. They are running around, enjoying their snacks. Okay, so we did not get any eggs. The chicken is still laying, so I'm going to let her do her thing. I'm not going to rush her just to get eggs. But look. My cabbage is doing so well. It's starting to bulb in the middle. If you see it, it's starting to curl. I'm so excited. My collards are doing amazing. Let's see what else we have. I still need to clean this bed, but it keeps raining and I can't get out here. Both of those beds. Y'all look. My broccoli and greens and pak choy and kale. Over here we got some carrots popping up. And I put some lettuce and some cilantro and some more beets. And we'll see what happens with that. Let me get my tail in the house. The dark clouds are now over me. And I don't want to get rained on. It is way too cold to get wet. So, you guys, look at that. Do y'all see that rainbow? Oh my gosh.
And guess what? It's also a double rainbow.
Yeah, if you can see it. Let me see if you can see it all the way over there. There's actually two of them. I don't know if you can tell. If you can see that, there's actually two of them. Yay! So overall, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I did taste one of the smaller pies, and they taste just like a regular pie. So although they don't look great, they are wonderful. So thank you guys for staying with me. What we actually ended up doing with the rest of the apples that we had left over is the apples for the apple pie filling we're actually going to use for our oatmeal for this week. The other apples that were left over from the apple crisp, the cubed apples, we have put those in the freezer on parchment paper, and we're going to bag those up and use those for our smoothies. We ended up with 21 apples still left that had no bruises or anything on them that didn't need to be processed immediately. So we're going to use those for fresh eating unless I make something else. So thank you for sticking with us. Until next time, bye. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget to do your lessons on Duolingo.
Bye.